Falling from a rooftop isn't exactly on anyone's bucket list. For Kim, it's the day that should have ended his story but somehow became its bizarre beginning. Kim floats in the darkness of his own mind, trying to make sense of his new reality. He was so close to graduation, all those years of enduring high school hell, just to end up as a human vegetable? The universe clearly has a twisted sense of humor. Inside the hospital room, a nurse with the bedside manner of a Wolverine suggests to his grandmother that she should pull the plug, because nothing says compassion like telling an elderly woman to off her grandson. "I will never give up on him." Grandma roars with such ferocity that even the comatose patients 2 floors down probably flinched. Meanwhile, Kim lies there, the world's most alert vegetable. He can feel every touch, hear every word, and think every thought. He just can't do a single useful thing about any of it. It's like being trapped in the world's worst escape room with no hints and no bathroom breaks. "It'll be fine," Kim thinks optimistically. "I've never been sick before. Surely I'll stand up soon." But unfortunately, the universe isn't accepting optimism as currency these days. His grandmother clutches his hand, tears streaming down her wrinkled face. "I took you in after your parents died," she reminds him, as if he might have forgotten this rather significant life detail. "Just give me a sign. Anything." Kim strains with every fiber of his immobile being. His brain screams commands at his pinky finger. "Move, twitch, do something." But his body responds with the digital equivalent of "message seen," not replying. Later, his brother visits, bringing the cheerful news that Kim's bullies have now made him their new hobby. "They're beating me up now," he complains, as if Kim should feel guilty for not being available to take his regular beatings. "And grandma started working at a restaurant to pay your hospital bills and got injured." His brother unleashes a dramatic plea. "Wake up!" he screams, with all the subtlety of a foghorn in a library. In his dark prison, Kim decides this must be a nightmare. If he just waits a little longer, he'll wake up. But years pass with the speed of molasses uphill in January, and he remains trapped. His brother K-Jean apparently found better things to do than visit his vegetable brother, as he hasn't shown up in ages. 2 nurses chat near his bed, casually mentioning that his grandmother fainted. Their primary concern? Now they can finally crank up the TV volume. Hospital Staff of the Year material, clearly. Kim's thoughts turn to the rogues gallery who put him here. Park Min, Cho Young, Taek Jong, Miho, K Chong, Odai Kim Young, and those spineless teachers who covered for them. If by some cosmic joke he could return to where it all began, he would crush them like the insects they are. He replays revenge fantasies in his head on loop, like a particularly violent Netflix series with only 1 season. But even vengeance gets boring when you can't actually do anything about it. Years pass, hope fades, and Kim finally manages the Herculean task of shedding a single tear begging for someone, anyone, to end his misery. Then, as if the universe finally checked its junk email folder and found his request, a mysterious figure appears before him and Kim's eyes snap open. Not to the same hospital ceiling he's memorized every crack in, but to his classroom. Kim blinks, convinced it's another cruel dream. He pinches his cheek. Ouch. For confirmation, he stabs a pen into his leg like a normal, well-adjusted person would. Pain. Glorious pain. This is no dream. Behind him, Park Bully Extraordinaire is beating someone senseless, while everyone watches with the collective courage of a scared hamster. Kim recognizes this scene like it's tattooed on his brain. It's the precise moment everything went sideways in his life. With the confidence of someone who has literally nothing left to lose, Kim walks up and utters a single word. "Stop!" Park turns, his face a perfect blend of amusement and contempt. Well, if it isn't our class president playing hero dash. Kim's fist introduces itself to Park's face with such enthusiasm that the bully's silver tongue suddenly develops a stutter. The class gasps in unison like they're practicing for the world's most dramatic choir. Kim has returned to his freshman year of high school, to the very day that ruined his life, but this time, he's brought years of pent-up rage and an encyclopedic knowledge of exactly how everything will unfold. The original incident had been laughably mundane. Park, whose entire personality could be summarized as human trash fire, was obsessed with a game called Legend Online. He'd forced an unfit classmate named Lee Young to level up his character. Lee, whose backbone suddenly appeared one fateful day, told Park to handle it himself. Park, being a reasonable sort, responded by attempting to rearrange Lee's face. Kim had tried to intervene, only to be warned by a classmate that helping Lee would be like digging his own grave. But Kim's sweet, naive Kim had helped anyway. Therefore began his personal tour of high school hell, dragged around daily and beaten senseless without time to recover. But not this time. This time, Park's attempt to counterattack is met with Kim grabbing his hand and smashing it into a table with enough force to make even the furniture wince. Blood sprays from Park's hand like a particularly gruesome lawn sprinkler. Kim proceeds to smack Park around like a tennis ball, his mind racing through the countless times he'd rehearsed this moment in his vegetative state. Park's fighting style is pathetically predictable, all brute force, no technique. He's not used to being hit, so one good shot should, and down goes Park. Kim tosses him into the lockers and continues his assault with the enthusiasm of someone working through years of therapy in a single violent burst. A chair suddenly flies through the air toward Kim's head. Park's cronies have arrived, screeching for him to stop. Kim gives them a look that suggests he's considering using their spines as coat racks. "I don't want to," he replies with the casual air of someone declining an extra helping of vegetables. A gigantic teen approaches Kong Chong, the true muscle of Park's operation. Before their inevitable clash can begin, a girl rushes in announcing the teacher's approach. Park's gang scurries away, promising revenge with all the originality of cartoon villains. During class, Park nurses his wounded pride along with his actual wounds. He vows revenge, convinced there's no way a nerd like Kim could have legitimately beaten him. Meanwhile, Park's gang discusses their new target with the strategic depth of preschoolers planning a sandbox takeover. When class ends, Park rises dramatically ready to exact his revenge. But Kim, apparently having developed superhuman reflexes during his time as a vegetable, launches a flying kick straight to Park's face before the bully can even complete his villainous monologue. "Let's continue where we left off," Kim suggests pleasantly, as if discussing a paused board game rather than a violent beatdown. Word spreads faster than cafeteria food poisoning, and students crowd around the windows to witness Kim's unexpected transformation from victim to vengeance personified. Park's gang arrives just in time to see their leader bleeding profusely, decorating their uniforms with artistic crimson splatters. Kong rushes Kim, who greets him by smashing a lock into his skull with a sickening thud. Kong drops like a stone, and Kim turns his attention to the long-haired one Cho. In seconds, Cho is on the ground being used as a human punching bag. Kim attacks with the single-minded focus of someone who's had literally years to plan this moment. His body, however, isn't quite as enthusiastic as his mind. Still, he perseveres, turning finally to the last gang member Young, who's now trembling like a chihuahua in a snowstorm. Young stares at Kim as if he's transformed into some demonic entity, complete with terrifying aura and possibly flame effects. Just as Kim's fist is about to introduce itself to Young's face, a teacher arrives, saving Young from an imminent dental reconstruction. The teacher drags Kim to the teacher's lounge for a stern lecture on proper school behavior. He's furious, claiming that in all his years of teaching, he's never seen such violence. Kim interrupts him mid-rant with a calm that would make a Buddhist monk jealous. "Let's not overreact," Kim suggests coolly. "This isn't exactly the first incident of violence in this school. In fact, you're quite skilled at burying such incidents, aren't you?" The teacher, offended by this disrespect, slaps Kim hard enough to attract attention from other teachers. Kim thinks back to his previous life. This teacher, Chul, was less an educator and more a professional bribe-taker. A human dumpster fire in a cheap suit. "You might want to stop," Kim advises, "unless you want everyone to know about the bribes you take from parents, especially from Young's parents. Oh, and let's not forget your passionate affair with the married English teacher, the one with 3 children." Chul freezes, his face performing an impressive impersonation of someone who just swallowed an ice cube. In his previous life, Kim had gone to Chul for help, only to be ignored. The bullying continued, and even when Kim fought back, it was twisted against him. The realization that adult intervention was as useless as a chocolate teapot had come too late. "From now on," Kim explains pleasantly, "when I speak, you should think very carefully before responding. I know about your university connection to Young's parents. I know about the monthly payments. I even know which motel you and Mrs. English teacher prefer for your extramarital gymnastics." Kim leans back, enjoying Chul's rapidly paling complexion. Even if I have to quit school, I'll make sure to trample your life into dust. I remember how in my 3rd year your affair was revealed, and your wife came to school and slapped you in front of everyone. Rumor has it she owned most of your shared assets. Chul bows his head in defeat, asking what Kim wants with all the enthusiasm of someone requesting a root canal. Simple. Continue being trash, but work for me instead of Young and his friends. Cover up my incidents until I graduate, and your dirty little secrets stay buried. With one puppet secured, Kim heads to Young's classroom. Young is furiously throwing chairs, convinced the teacher will protect him because of his parents' payroll contributions. His daydream of revenge is interrupted when Kim casually strolls in and announces they have unfinished business. One solid punch sends Young flying across the room like a human javelin. Kim continues the beating while Young lies paralyzed with fear. When Chul spots the fight, he faces a moral dilemma lasting approximately 2 seconds before walking away. Kim's blackmail trumps Young's parents' money, a rare victory for corruption over wealth. Back in the teacher's lounge, Chul panics. 3 students in the hospital is impossible to cover up. The school wants to avoid scandal, but that means Kim must be punished. Young's parents, who own several residential complexes and recently funded the school's renovation, will demand blood if their precious son is harmed. Chul's brilliant solution? Separate Young from the incident entirely. But when he rushes to implement this plan, he finds Kim already pummeling Young into human paste. Chul turns away, acknowledging that his affair being revealed would be far worse than facing Young's parents' wrath. Kim, meanwhile, contemplates the weakness of his former tormentors. They always claimed he was bullied because he was weak, yet here's Young trembling like a leaf in a hurricane after barely getting started. Kim knows this incident will be nearly impossible to cover up. The principal wants to make Bright Prospect's high school prestigious, so he'll push hard for Kim's punishment. But this is only the beginning of Kim's master plan. In the disciplinary meeting, the principal rages about Kim's actions while Kim sits with zero remorse and the emotional investment of someone waiting for a bus. The English teacher, unaware she's starring in Kim's blackmail portfolio, suggests expulsion, but Chul nudges her into silence with the subtlety of an elbow to the ribs. He defends Kim, claiming he was originally a victim who snapped under pressure like a twig in a hydraulic press. The principal, prioritizing connections with powerful parents over actual justice, shocking, I know, announces a review committee meeting in 1 week. Until then, Kim is suspended, which he takes as a well-deserved vacation. Outside, Chul follows Kim, pleading that he tried his best with all the conviction of a used car salesman. Kim laughs with the dark amusement of someone who's seen the end of this particular movie. You knew Park was bullying students all along, didn't you? Kim asks rhetorically. Remember, until I graduate, your only salvation is helping me, regardless of the methods. Unless you'd prefer your wife redecorate your face in front of the entire faculty again. Kim decides not to destroy Chul immediately. He's a useful pawn, a teacher with morals so flexible they could qualify for Olympic gymnastics. The upcoming committee meeting is something Kim has planned for during his decade of vegetative contemplation, replaying scenarios like others binge Netflix series. Walking home, Kim reflects on his shabby 1-bedroom villa, preserved only thanks to his parents' insurance money. He remembers how his grandmother had been forced to move because of his hospital bills, making it feel like the world was collapsing around him. Now, he's thankful to have a place to return to, even if it's less dream home, and more, at least it has walls. In his room, Kim opens a notebook containing his master plan, written with the meticulous detail of someone who had literally nothing else to do for years. The strategy is comprehensive. Conquer surrounding areas, establish a foundation, and eliminate his enemy's power bases with the methodical precision of a supervillain who's really gotten his act together. But first, 3 conditions must be met. 1. Personal manpower. He needs strength to confront his enemies without being pushed back like a shopping cart on a hill. Since he can't train himself sufficiently in such a short time, no Rocky montage for him, he needs to recruit that specific person who can provide the muscle his plan requires. 2. Allied manpower. His opponents have numbers, so he must gather people with aligned interests faster than teenagers collect social media followers. As a freshman, he needs others to execute his plans, since one-man armies only work in action movies. 3. Background protection. With his future knowledge, he can establish the background necessary to ensure nothing stands in his way, like a chess player who somehow memorized all possible moves. The immediate problem of the disciplinary committee requires this background support, making it his priority. Meanwhile, at a police station, a white-haired man is throwing a tantrum worthy of a toddler denied ice cream. This is Go Chong Bam, the 35-year-old single man, which he makes sure to emphasize despite nobody asking, and oldest son of Mong Jin Construction's chairman, currently in hot water for sending someone to the hospital with his fists instead of an ambulance. Chong kicks around a policeman, boasting about being a dangerous person, with all the self-awareness of a goldfish. Evidently, he hit someone, causing the person to be sent to the hospital with an express ticket. Chong mentally reviews his predicament with rising panic. His father recently announced a succession race between him and his brother, pitting Chong, proud owner of a high school diploma and not much else, against his younger brother, prestigious university graduate who married a famous woman. If Daddy Dearest gets wind of this incident, Chang's succession hopes will evaporate faster than spilled water in a desert. The policeman, apparently immune to rich guy intimidation tactics, points out that beating up innocent people tends to have consequences in a functioning society. Chong insists the victims hit him first, but without CCTV footage, it's just his word against theirs. And surprise, the police aren't taking the angry rich guy's side. Just as Chang's future looks bleaker than a rainy funeral, Kim appears like a guardian angel with security footage proving Chong was indeed attacked first. The police, confronted with this evidence, apologize profusely. Chong, ever gracious, threatens to remember the officer's face before leaving, because nothing says, "thank you," like a veiled threat. Outside, Chong rewards Kim with cash, which Kim pockets without hesitation or a thank you card. Chong is surprised at Kim's casual acceptance, but that's nothing compared to his shock when Kim reveals he knows everything about Chong, his background, the succession race, everything, reciting facts like a particularly creepy Wikipedia page. Chong feels threatened, but Kim assures him he means no harm and might even save his life, which is exactly what every non-threatening person says. In a cafe, Kim shows Chong additional footage revealing the random attackers had actually been waiting specifically for him with the patience of leopards stalking prey. Kim suggests these incidents, conveniently occurring just as the succession race began, were orchestrated by Chang's brother with all the subtlety of a cartoon villain. Chong is skeptical his well-behaved brother would do such things, displaying the family awareness of a distant cousin at a reunion. Kim, meanwhile, contemplates Mong Jin Construction's History A company that rose from regional obscurity to national prominence through ethical building practices. But both sons eventually disappeared from the picture in a corporate version of a magic trick. Kim recalls Chong hitting his brother so hard he became permanently disabled, causing their father to declare both sons incompetent with the disappointment only rich patriarchs can muster. This public family drama became a meme, which helped Kim track down the convenience store location with the detective skills he developed during years of being able to do literally nothing else. In truth, Kim believes neither son should run the company. The eldest is incompetent with a temper that makes volcanoes seem chill, while the younger is ruthlessly immoral with the ethics of a hungry piranha. But Kim cares only about their usefulness to his plans, like a chess player who doesn't care about the piece's feelings. "I'll help you take revenge against your brother and secure the chairman position," Kim offers Chong, who scoffs at taking advice from a high schooler with all the arrogance of someone who hasn't realized they're drowning. But Kim interrupts, his eyes gleaming with the confidence of someone holding all the aces in a poker game. "The people currently helping you win this succession race? They're filling your ears with sweet nothings while quietly reporting back to your brother. If a mere high school student like me can decipher your brother's plot within minutes, what does that say about your so-called advisors?" Kim leans forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "It's painfully obvious those people are nothing but informants for your brother, dressed up as allies. They're about as loyal to you as cats are to gravity." Chang's face cycles through expressions faster than a slot machine: disbelief, anger, consideration, and finally, reluctant curiosity. "Give me a chance," Kim proposes, his hand extended across the table like a bridge between their worlds. "Just one chance to build our relationship on trust. Unlike your current entourage of backstabbers, I actually need you to succeed." And so begins Kim's grand scheme of revenge, manipulation, and second chances, a tale where the former victim returns as the puppet master, pulling strings with the delighted precision of someone who's rehearsed this performance for years in the theater of his trapped mind.